Good afternoon, everyone. How you doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're doing well. This is Ryan Jackson from RyanJacksonLLC.com, and I'm coming at you today. And I'm gonna get into the topic. First of all, I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope you're doing well. It's the middle of the week. It's hump day. So hope you're all having a good week and hope you're doing well. So I'm gonna jump into the topic for this episode, and it's about former President Barack Obama. Today is his birthday, his 60th birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Former President Obama. Happy 60th birthday. That's a milestone. He's throwing a huge birthday bash this weekend. It's going to be over 700 people there. His birthday bash is going to be held on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. And over the guest list is well over 700 people. I think it's close to 500 people, over 500 guests, but the hired hands is going to be 200. So all in all, it's going to be over 700 people. Mind you, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so keep that in mind. But I'm going to talk about that later. But first, I want to get into Mr. Obama. Yeah, today is his birthday. Happy birthday to him. Happy 60th. And in honor of his birthday, I'm going to tell the truth about how he didn't do anything for foundational Black Americans. Not a thing. You can't debate me on this because the facts are there. So, and I could prove it, and I'm about to. So let me explain what foundational Black Americans are for those of you who may not know. So, by definition, a foundational Black American is any person classified as Black who can trace their bloodline lineage back to the American system of slavery. Um, I'm a foundational Black American. I could trace my bloodline lineage back to slavery, to chattel slavery. So let me just clarify that. So I just want to get that out in the open. So that's what a foundational Black American is. Okay, so with that being said, Mr. Obama didn't do anything for foundational Black Americans. He was in office for 8 years, 2 terms, being elected in 2000, being sworn in 2009, and he left office in January 2017. And his predecessor was Donald Trump. So 8 years, from 2009 to 2017. So 8 years. In that time, like I said, he didn't do anything for foundational Black Americans. Not a thing. The wealth gap between blacks and whites didn't close. That bad boy actually widened. Yeah, people say, well, the job market was strong. Yeah, but that's national. That's on a broad national uh, basis. That's on a national level. I'm talking about the wealth gap in the Black community. It did not close. Yes, Black people may have gotten jobs, but that didn't help the Black community. So it didn't create Black wealth or build Black wealth. So the wealth gap between blacks and whites didn't close at all. It widened. Black people were being slaughtered in the streets by the cops. Um, and it really happened. It really came to light, and it was happening on a more consistent basis during his second term in office. 2012, Trayvon Martin is murdered in Sanford, Florida, by George Zimmerman, who wasn't a cop. He was a security guard who thought he was a cop. He followed Trayvon Martin and murdered him senselessly. 2012. I was living in Florida at the time. I never forget it. Trayvon Martin. senselessly murdered by George Zimmerman, that piece of human filth. You had the incident of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. He was in the police wagon and he didn't have any restraints on him. And the police was driving recklessly, and Freddie Gray's head slammed up against the wall in the wagon, broke his neck, snapped his neck. You had that incident in Baltimore. You had Eric Garner in New York. He was choked to death on video by the New York Police Department. His crime, selling loose cigarettes. The man kept saying, "I can't breathe." He was choked on video. Philando Castile was shot on video, a police stop. He informed the cop that he was a registered gun owner, and he was in the process of showing him his documentation that he had a permit to carry. He was shot in the chest on video in front of his girlfriend and I believe 4-year-old daughter. I believe she was 4 years old. She was in the back seat. Traumatic experience for both of them on video. That happened in Minnesota. In Louisiana, Alton Sterling was shot and murdered for selling CDs outside of a store. Sandra Bland was murdered in Texas. Was pulled over for quote unquote driving erratically, arrested and thrown in jail, and was hung. They said it was a suicide, but I'm not buying that BS. She was murdered. Sandra Bland was murdered in Texas. That's only a few incidents. Then you had Terrence Crutcher in Oklahoma. He was murdered on camera, on video, traffic stop. He was murdered in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's only a few. Those are only a few incidents. The big one, well, they all are big. Let me forgive me for that. They all are tragic and huge incidents. But the one that was just that they all were heartbreaking. But the massacre in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Emanuel AME Church, 9 people were massacred by a piece of human filth. Lord and rat filth. Dylan Roof, white supremacist terrorists, entered this church. The pastor and the parishioners prayed for this young man. They didn't care if he was white. They welcomed him in their church with open arms. And how did he thank them? He senselessly slaughtered them. 9 parishioners, including the pastor. Dylan Roof later fled the scene. There was a manhunt for him. A manhunt. He was later captured a day later in the woods in North Carolina. He was given a bulletproof vest and taken to Burger King to get a burger. I am not making this up. The authorities put a bulletproof vest on this terrorist and took him to Burger King to get some food, to get him a burger. I am not making this up. I cannot make this up. After he murdered 9 people, they take him to Burger King. He's on death row right now. He's gonna get murdered. Gonna get the death penalty. Only because the pastor of the church was a South Carolina state senator. And in America, if you murder a public official, a sitting public official, you automatically get the death penalty. That's the only reason why he's getting a death penalty, is because he murdered a South Carolina state senator who was the pastor of the Emanuel AME Church in Charleston. You would think after all these incidents, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Eric Gardner, Freddie Gray, Terrence Crutcher, Philando Castile, many others, the slaughter at the church in South Carolina, in Charleston, the AME Church, that there would be that President Obama, first black president who we voted for, yes we can. That was what his slogan was in 2008. We thought we were given hope. We thought things was going to change. That's what he ran on, change, in 2008. Change has come to Washington. But it really didn't. Things remained the same. It was business as usual. We voted for this man. I did. I'm guilty. I voted for him twice, in 2008 and 2012. The first time I ever registered to vote was in 2008. And I said, I owe it to myself because I want this black man to win. I like Obama. I love him. I want to see him in the White House. And I voted for him in 2008. 4 years later, he ran against Mitt Romney. I voted for him again in 2012. Now, I ignored the previous 4 years of him not doing anything for us. I said, well, Congress fought him. They was fighting tooth and nail. I was defending him, like many of us were. Voted for him in 2012. And that's when all hell broke loose. All hell on black people. That's when it all broke loose. 2015, 2016, I started to scratch my head and say, dang, black people getting murdered in the streets and by the cops, and you had this massacre at the church in Charleston. Nothing seems to be done. But you know what? President Obama, he's a good man. And then probably about 3 years ago, actually the 2016 election, Hillary and Trump. I don't want Trump in office. I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton, but I don't want Trump in office. But I can't stand Hillary Clinton, but I don't want Trump. So against my better judgment, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Against my better judgment. 2017-18, I was on my Trump rant. And about 2018, I came to realization. I got my wake-up call, my Negro wake-up call. A lot of y'all need Negro wake-up calls. I got mine. Obama didn't do a damn thing for foundational black Americans. He didn't do diddly squats. Ryan, why are you defending this man? And shout out to my youngest brother, my little brother. He was telling me about Obama in 2015. Actually, before that, 2014. He couldn't stand Obama. I said, bro, you're wrong, man. No, you're wrong. That's not right. You're wrong, bro. You're wrong. But then I had to come to realization he was right all along. And I told him not so long ago, I said, bro, you was right, man. I was wrong. You were right. You were so right about Obama. You were right. I can admit when I'm wrong. And I sure admitted it to him. So all these incidents, Trayvon Martin, black people getting shot in the streets by the cops, just getting murdered left and right. It's like every time you turn on the news, from 20, oh, and Mike Brown in Ferguson. How could I forget that one? Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, the summer of 2014, was murdered by, was shot in the street, Ferguson, Missouri. Body was on the, was left on the ground for 3 hours, 4 hours. So-called shoplifting. That's why he was murdered. The cop said it was a threat to his life. And he shot that young man, 18 years old, Mike Brown. How could I forget? That's what really, well, Trayvon Martin, but what really, Trayvon Martin's death spearheaded the Black Lives Matter movement, but the death of Mike Brown is what caused protests throughout the streets. Just and from 2014 to 2016, I mean, every time you turned on the news, it seemed like another black person was getting senselessly murdered by the cops. And this was during Obama's presidency, his second term, in office. You would think with all these incidents that Obama would have went ballistic and said, you know what, there needs to be a proposal. He would have convened Congress, pressured them into proposing a hate crime bill against black people. You would have thought that he would have had the testicular fortitude to fight for a proposal on a bill against hate against black people in this country. He did nothing. He didn't hold these police departments accountable for killing black people. He did nothing. Dr. Julianne Malvo was on told Dr. Boyce Watkins a couple years back. She was on one of his podcasts. She told him that she did an interview with Mr. Obama and she brought up reparations. She said he jumped out of his chair and he said, stop this interview, and went ballistic on her and kicked her out of his office. Stopped the interview abruptly because she brought up reparations. Dr. Julianne Malvo. Brilliant, brilliant lady. Doesn't get the recognition that she deserves. Brilliant black woman. President Obama said that he couldn't do anything only for black people because he said he wanted to, but he couldn't because there would have been a backlash from white people. Negro, are you kidding me? Let me repeat myself. He said he wanted to do things for black people, but he couldn't because he feared backlash from white people. Yet, we voted him in office. We believed him on what he said. But you couldn't have our back? Are you serious, Negro? Imagine, if you will, there was a Jewish president. Jews were being murdered in the streets by the cops. There was a massacre and there have been massacres at synagogues, unfortunately. There was a massacre at a synagogue. The president is a Jew. Jews get massacred in the synagogue. Jews are being murdered by the cops in record numbers. The wealth gap between Jews and blacks are extremely widened. Do you think that Jewish president wouldn't propose something for the Jewish community through Congress, that he wouldn't be up at night fighting tooth and nail for the Jewish community. He would fight tooth and nail for them. They're being murdered in the streets. There would be proposals of hate crime bills against Jews, and he would hold these police departments criminally accountable for the death of Jewish people. Am I right or am I absolutely right? Same thing if it was an Asian, Chinese American man in the White House. Wouldn't he propose a hate crime bill against Asian Americans? If their wealth gap was between Asian Americans and blacks and whites, Asian Americans and whites, if the wealth gap was like wide to no end, hadn't been closed, you don't think this Asian American man would propose hate crime bills and fight tooth and nail to close the wealth gap between Asian Americans and white people? You don't think he would do that? And you could go with any ethnicity, Hispanic, um, um, LGBTQ. You could put them in there. Middle Eastern. They would fight for their people. They will fight tooth and nail for their community because they had their people put them in the Oval Office and they owe it to them to make sure they get tangibles. Our so-called black president did not do that. He didn't do a damn thing. As a matter of fact, the week of the Charleston massacre, he went to Charleston, went to the church, sung Amazing Grace, and the next day he proposed the Equality Act that allowed gay and lesbian couples to marry. He signed it into law. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. The week of that massacre, he signed into legislation the Equality Act, which made it legal for gay and lesbian couples to marry. The week of the massacre of 9 black people. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. This is not anything against the LGBTQ community, but how can you give them tangibles when we were senselessly murdered by a terrorist? The same week? You couldn't wait a month? You had to do it that very week, the next day? You come to church singing Amazing Grace at a black church, and the next day you pass an equality act to allow gay and lesbian couples to marry legally. But you didn't propose a hate crime bill for what this piece of crap young boy, young punk did. Oh, I just sing Amazing Grace. It's bad. It's terrible. Yes, we can. You did not propose any tangibles. Does anyone see a problem with that picture, or is it just me? This would never happen with any other race of people or community. It would never happen. Never. But it happens to us, and we allow it. We continue to get played by these damn Democrats every 4 years. Years ago it was the Clintons. Then it was Obama. Now it's Joe Biden. Next, it's probably Kamala Harris. I could see her becoming president. We continue to fall for the okie doke. We continue to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. And it makes me sick to no end. It's ridiculous. When are we going to get it? When? Do we have to wait for a whole bunch of buildings to fall on our head for us to get it? Do we? I mean, come on, y'all. I'm looking for the article now. Oh, so yeah. So the week after Obama, I'm looking at the picture now. I wish I could share this. I'm gonna figure this out one day. Just bear with me, y'all. So, um, yep. The week after Obama, wow, I'll never forget this. The week after Obama signed the Equality Act into law, Newsweek came out with a magazine with a photo of President Obama, and around his head was a rainbow colored halo. A rainbow colored halo, which is the colors for the LGBTQ community. And it says, the first gay president. I am not making this up. You Google this. When you get a chance, Google Obama first gay president. And there's an article in the Washington Post, and it was a magazine cover for Newsweek magazine. On the cover, it's a photo of President Obama, and around his head, it's a rainbow colored halo, and it says, America's first gay president. Or, excuse me, the first gay president by Andrew Sullivan. Picture of President Obama, photo of him, and around it says a rainbow colored halo, the colors for the LGBTQ community, and it says the first gay president by Andrew Sullivan. I'm not making this up. It's well documented. I gave you the article and who was by, and it's Newsweek. The first black president is gay. Last time I checked, President Obama was married to Michelle Obama, his wife. He had two beautiful daughters, but he's gay. The first black president is considered gay now. See, this is what they do. This is, and if you gay, lesbian, transgender, more power to you. Your sexual orientation, I could care less. That's your right. That's your freedom. That's your liberty. Your sexual orientation is your right. That's your freedom. More power to you. Live your life. Let me be clear on that. Live your life. I could care less what your sexual orientation is. But when you promote and you force your sexual orientation, or you force your way of life on people, you force it on them, I have an issue with that. President Obama gave you a tangible and you call him gay. You can't say thank you, Mr. President, for signing this into legislation. The man got to be gay now. Really? Seriously? I mean, come on. I mean, seriously? It's so insidious. but yet we allow it. So if a gay president passed tangibles for black people, let's just say he did, would he be considered the first black president? If President Obama had been a Asian American and he passed this Equality Act for the LGBTQ community, would he have been considered gay? Would Asian Americans allow that to happen? How about if he was Jewish? Would the Jewish community allow that to happen? I know the Middle Eastern community would never allow that to happen. Well, hell, neither would the Asian community, but yet we do. And this is not anti-LGBTQ. It is not. Live your life. If you're lesbian, gay, transgender, non-binary, I don't necessarily know what that is. Um, I said transgender, queer, what so have you, whatever. Want to dress up as a woman, whatever. Live your life. You have that liberty. That's your freedom. Live your life. That's your life. More power to you. But when you force it on children to change their sexual identity at the age of 8 years old, when you force your way of life onto children, onto people, that's what I have an issue with. Let people make that choice. Do not make it for them. That's what I have an issue with. Let them be who they are. You're who you are. Yeah. Oh, and I mentioned President Obama earlier. I mentioned President Obama's birthday bash, which is being held on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts this weekend. Close to 500 people are on the guest list. People like Oprah, George Clooney, Steven Spielberg, John Legend, the DJ D Nice. I think he may be DJing. So all these, big name celebrities are going to be there. And from what I read in an article in New York Post yesterday, there are going to be 200 hired hands there to, help with the setup and the food. So you're going to have well over 700 people at this birthday bash / concert, whatever, for Barack Obama's 60th birthday. Question: aren't we in the middle of a pandemic? Isn't the Delta variant out there? Aren't they? Uh, didn't the mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, just said that if you're not vaccinated, you pretty much can't go anywhere in New York City, and other cities are going to follow suit? Watch what I tell you. And didn't it just have Lollapalooza in Chicago this past weekend, where there were thousands and thousands upon thousands of people? Where's Dr. Fauci on this? How come Joe Biden isn't calling this out? Well, and I heard people say, well, they're vaccinated. Well, yeah, but we were told that the Delta variant is spread among vaccinated people, not unvaccinated people. CNN fact checked Joe Biden on that last week because he spread that lie that the Delta variant was spread among unvaccinated people. And that's not true at all. It's spread among vaccinated people. So vaccinated people could spread the variant among vaccinated people as well as unvaccinated people. Yet President Obama is having a birthday bash, concert, whatever you want to call it, this weekend on Martha's Vineyard, where there's going to be well over 700 people, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. Are you kidding me? But had this been Trump or any Republican, CNN would have been talking about this nonstop, 24/7, nonstop. Am I right or am I absolutely right? The White House press secretary, uh, I can't think of her name, Psaki, can't think of her first name. They asked her about it in the article that I read on in the New York Post, and she said, "Well, the county's vaccinated, but that's beside the point. See, when it's something that the Democrats want, they will justify their BS no matter what. And people, they're so transparent. People see through their BS, but they will still justify it and justify it no matter what. They will justify their BS no matter how they get caught out on it. But if the Republicans do it, it's a problem. Republicans bad, Democrats good. Vaccinated good, unvaccinated bad. Some of y'all are like grown kindergartners. Really. You need to grow up. It makes absolutely no sense at all. No sense. But that's America for you. And we know Americans are not the smartest people in the world. They prove it on a daily basis. But be that as it may, this is America. What can we do? On that note, y'all, I'm out of here on this. Yeah. Let me know your opinions, your thoughts on this. Share it on social media. Get it out there in the algorithm. Let's have this conversation. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree. But let's disagree without being disagreeable. Let's be adult about this. Mature. We don't have to agree, but let's disagree without being disagreeable. So let me know your thoughts and comments on this episode. Feel free to share them. In any event, take care. Love you. God bless. I'm out. Peace.